Baby,
Hey,
you know what time it is.
please tell me.
It's Studio Johnny Q time.
And what does that mean?
That means it is time to drop your nerd drawers, baby.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm sure it's sexy.
I can assure you it is. Done and done. Welcome, one and all. Yes, thank you. Thank you. We got all the way through, so it was nice to see that with some time off that Smoothie Q Breeze was able to recover, and our fear of a stroke was perhaps overestimated. But welcome one and all. Randy, we have a picture of you over at the Master Control. Give a shout out. Hey! Randy, say, hi, this is Johnny Q of Studio Johnny Q. Welcoming you one and all up. And we just knocked over part of our castle. Welcome you to Addition Through Distraction, your twice-a-week podcast where we try to help provide value to your day-to-day with a little bit of our goofiness. And we thank you for showing up. Randy?
Did you get a notification?
What's that? I did, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, there it is. A little late.
Oh. I'm missing a light over here, Randy. And I want to show, actually, though, you can see here the M50, our castle that we've been working on over here. And it's getting pretty tasty.
Nice.
And we're in our final stages here. It's gotten just about all the painting it's going to get. It's been sealed with some polyurethane, which we were speaking about. I was apologizing for the smell in here because I sprayed it outside, but it was so wet and cold that I couldn't really let it dry out there. So I had to bring it back in a little preemptively, and so that was yesterday. I sprayed it yesterday afternoon. It still retains some of that lovely smell, which I said smells like pecan rolls, and you said you felt really sad for me that I thought that's what pecans will smell like. But let me switch over.
It smells like linseed oil.
Linseed,
especially like old linseed oil.
Now, linseed oil, is that used for like
oil paints?
Oil paints.
Well,
okay.
A lot of other stuff too.
Ah, wow, that was something.
Boiled
Glad we got that on camera.
oil.
I just had a little black spooge. Volume 4. I mean, I don't know why that would have a volume. I don't even know what that would mean, but I'm having some incidences over here, Randy. It's oh man. So I think that this bottle that I've been using for the spray wash, Randy, that it is rather persnickety when it comes to, like, say, closing. If it's not closed and it gets a little top-sided, it had the tendency to leak. And so I got this stuff a little bit all over the place. Alrighty. But welcome, while I work on this, I get this quickly cleaned up. Welcome one and all. Reminders to please like, share, and subscribe. When you subscribe, you get access to the bell icon. And Randy, when they click that bell icon, magic happens. And that is proof of said magic right there. You'll get notifications when we do stuff. And just a reminder that we have links to all of our socials down below, our links to the highlighted gear. We're Amazon affiliated, so we're trying to pass on some of the good stuff that we use here. And the glue gun and the heat gun are two new items that we picked up, and I am really enjoying them. I consider them both to be a nice upgrade and very fairly priced, if I do say so myself, Randy. We have links to the Quasi Shop as well. And with that, I think that we are good. Let me move this out of the way. Randy, how are you doing today, my friend?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I am doing all right. I feel like I'm in a little brighter spirits than I have been, actually.
That's good.
And I'm not exactly sure why, but I'm going to go with it. And there
hey,
we go.
JC.
Hey,
JC
JC
said, hey, all stream's looking good today.
Hey, thanks man.
Brother.
JC, today's title, let's have our titular moment early, Randy.
Oh.
Forget this foreplay. Although the titular moments often are. Never mind. This is not the piece I want. We are...
Do you need the speakers today?
No, I do not. And I just posted to Instagram, so if we got any likes, and you'll start to see them chirping.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be good to...
I muted it.
Enough of your words. I got it already. All right, Randy. Getting twitchy with it. Trying to work on figuring out how to multi-stream. So, trying to figure out how we can still. I don't want to forsake, our Twitch or our YouTube, right? All the stuff that we've been doing there and ability to archive, and so on and so forth. But I want it to reach a larger audience, and I'm not satisfied with the way that YouTube is helping to facilitate us getting out to a wider audience, and I think we'll have better luck on Twitch. So multi-streaming, I don't think there's really anything that's going to hurt, other than there'll probably be another chat pop-up window or something like that. So I think today's stream is actually probably going to be somewhat abbreviated, and that maybe the first half we'll do our normal biz, and then the second half we'll mess around with that. So I think that's what I have to say about that.
JC said he loves Twitch.
Good. Yeah, and I know that you'd ask me.
Like the dancer, or?
Are you familiar with Twitch? You're more of a spasm guy? Randy, here we go. I'll drop a little science on you. I'm more of a. I'm gonna say the word wrong. So, nothing like trying to be smart and saying the word wrong, right? Myoclonic jerk kind of guy myself. Ah.
Did you say high colonic?
Yeah, I'm a high colonic because man, nothing will make you jerk like a high colonic. No, there's when you're starting to fall asleep in class and you catch yourself and you do that head jerk.
Mm-hmm.
There's a term for that. I believe it's called myoclonic jerk. If you could try to help us fact find that, perhaps. But I was starting to say that JC had asked me early on why. Or if I had considered Twitch, and I had, and there, I was trying to stick with YouTube because we're also doing the edited videos, and so I was trying to keep the audience concentric. But when the audience is this small, and I already know that JC's a Twitch fan, so we're already migrating half of our audience. We'll be able to migrate half of our audience successfully, Randy.
Nice.
But anyway, so we have, this is one of the last pieces, Randy, that we're still working on here. And it's we'd use that. Let me actually see if I can get the M50. I'll switch the camera here. Yeah, JC, thanks on your comment about the different types of streams. That's one of the things that I did like because I was doing some test streams, and I'll be sure to send you personally the information. I think it's to Studio Johnny Q. If you look on Twitch, I think you can probably go ahead and join us from there. Right off the bat, like it recognizes makers and crafting as like a subject, Randy.
Mm-hmm.
Where like right now I think we're like how to and fashion is what we had to choose from. So right there it's already, and I thought YouTube was going to be doing a better job than Twitch of non-game related streaming, but they're really slow on the upchuck.
On the upchuck.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Okay, so
I'm
you've got, it looks like
to-
there's a couple different things along with the jerking that you were talking about.
Okay.
Uh,
I just don't know if it's myoclonic or
well, where'd it go? Is the same? Yeah. Myoclonic twitches or jerks usually are caused by sudden muscle contractions called positive myoclonus, or by muscle relaxation called negative myoclonus. Myoclonic jerks may occur alone or in sequence in a pattern or without pattern. It refers to a sudden involuntary jerking of a muscle group.
I find sometimes that it's more common to find jerks solo, but sometimes you'll find jerks in groups.
So
That's really bad when you find that.
I think what you're thinking of is a type of that.
Right.
Here's another reference to.
Could you spell the word? Is it MYO and then clonic?
It's kind of like well, no, it's not really.
Like Mayo without the A.
Like Mayo Clinic, but it's myoclonic. It's MYO.
Almost the same thing, but just completely different. I'm certain.
Different.
Myoclonic.
So hypnagogic. So hypnagogic is the state of in between waking and sleeping when you're kind of, it's an altered state of consciousness.
Yeah.
So when you're still dreaming but you're half awake when you're coming out of sleep.
Silent
a lot of people
lucidity.
use that time to do like stream of consciousness writing and stuff.
Yep.
Can
you help me? Can you help me while you're doing that? Is it possible for you to help with the M50?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me put it in studio mode.
Yeah. Hypnagogue. Oh no.
Looks like they. Well, they're just changing all kinds of stuff around, aren't they?
Are they? Is
Yeah.
that the little?
Oh, wow. Okay, that no longer moves. Interesting.
Let me move the mic here a little bit. So, we've got. Going on. So this is kind of the last piece that we're working on. When they get the M50 working, we'll give you some shots. Now, this has gotten a lot of dry brushing and some initial metal work, and which you can kind of see here. And I need to continue to work on that. And then one of the other pieces that I want to do, Randy, that's going to be really fun is adding some. Oh, there you got it back.
Yeah, it's ready.
Thank you, my friend.
I didn't switch to it automatically because it was out of focus, so
Yeah.
and it looked like the angle you had was good for what you're doing.
Sorry, 1 second. I work on the focus.
Huh.
I switched to a bigger lens because guy. And
Nice.
there we go. There. You get a kind of feel for what.
Now that wasn't part of the original pattern, was it? You added the kind of the concentric circles there.
So
Kind of like
it is. It is part of the. That is the.
Oh, that was part of the original design?
Yeah, it's
I
got
don't
this
remember
like round sort of thing, and then there's tiny circles
Oh, okay.
kind of within it. And I might even be able to. I don't know if I can. See what kind of.
Well, I mean, is that part of the roller pattern? Or
Yeah.
Is that part of? Okay.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to. That's one of the problems with the bigger lens is it
It doesn't want to do as
has
close
a
to the
focal
focus.
length kind of
Yeah.
issue. There you go. Yeah, it's kind of hard to. Damn it. Let's see if I can just put this.
I wonder if you get more light on it, if it would help it at all. Probably not. Maybe.
So, yeah, let me. Oh, I'm missing the light.
Looks like you can also shorten it to a hypnic jerk.
Hypnojerk?
Hypnic. Like hypnagogic, hypnagogic, but hypnic. A hypnic jerk.
Hypnic basket?
Yeah, hypnic basket.
So you can see a little bit. It's hard too because there's a lot of metal paint and the polyurethane, and so there's just a ton of reflection with 16 different lights in here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so the thing is that this kind of illustrates the point, though, is that yeah, you can kind of see some of what's going on, but it's a little messy and it needs to be tightened up and so on and so forth. So I'm going to add some more metal paints in here. I'm considering if I want to leave this as is. I think I might just leave it as is. But one of the things that I want to do is add some dressing to it, Randy. And I was thinking of some flocking. Some flock options.
Oh.
Yeah. What did the one shepherd say to the other shepherd? Let's get the flock out of here. I think they say that lethal weapon. Okay. So we have that. Let's take a look at some flocking options, Randy.
This is saying hypnic jerks are a type of involuntary muscle movement called myoclonus, which hiccups are also another common form of myoclonus.
Okay. So myoclonic. Yeah, I thought that's the name of my 80s punk band was going to be the Myoclonic Jerks. I thought it
So
was...
that's like any kind of repetitive jerking in your muscle groups and stuff, but hypnic jerk is specifically sleep twitches, hypnagogic jerks.
All right, Randy. Now don't get excited. This is the street value of this is about 3 cents.
Man, it's really come down.
Yeah, moss. You can find moss everywhere now. Once they went medicinal with moss, the prices really dropped. So we've got some of this moss here. I think this is reindeer moss, but I also got some of these other.
Oh, actually, yeah, maybe.
Kind of.
Usually it looks a bit different when I've seen it before.
So I got these guys and this stuff here. So for some vines and stuff, I'm thinking this will be real tasty.
Is it like a sphagnum?
Oh, man, you're making some shit up over there, I think, my friend.
Sphagnum moss? That's a real thing.
Sphagnum?
Yeah, sphagnum.
I'm not familiar with that term, my friend.
Use it as a soil additive or decoration on top of like a potted plant on top of the soil.
Okay.
Or in baskets, hanging baskets.
All right, we've got some static
I
flock.
think it grows naturally on the trees in the like in the swamp down south, like in Florida or Louisiana.
I've got some of these sphagnum moss. I'm sure I'll hear it again here. Huge minis. They're actually semi-local here. They're in the same state as us here, Randy.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I'd seen them. I think it was BMC had mentioned them, and I was like, hey man, I'll buy some of their stuff since they're some local peeps.
Cool.
And I do like their stuff. I bought some of the kind of the more just out of the ordinary things, and these have like chunks of like wood and stuff in them. So I've got those from them. So there might be some places that we could incorporate that. I've got this was from somewhere. These kind of like flower patch things, tufts.
Oh, cool.
So I'll maybe use those to break through a couple places. And let me see, what else do we have? We have some stuff here we could potentially use. Some shrubberies. And let me see if we have anything else that we want to potentially pull out of here. Chat wires, Randy. Wow. Want to kind of keep it light and easy, as I'm going to be probably doing a lot of up and moving around here today. Oh, here's some nice.
Oh, it looks like Spanish moss is the one that grows from the tree, that hangs down from the trees.
I've gotten some army painter, Randy, flocking at the half price store.
Oh, nice.
I was like, okay, yeah, sure. So
No doubt.
I've got some of that we can use. Also, I picked these up at the, at the Michaels. They always have like, it's seasonal generally, but they have a miniature section. So it's like in the spring, it's the fairy garden, and then it's it's the Halloween, or it's the winter or whatever. But so these are some little flowers things potentially can get used as well. Let me see here. Got that. Take a look over here. Yeah, I've got a lot more of that reindeer moss and that whatever type, the fuzzy moss. Here's what that looks like. I'll throw you a. There you go, Randy. This is some primo stuff right here. Dude. Oh, totally righteous.
Nice.
I think that'll look good as the creeper vine kind of like going up the side. So, I have to think about how we want to. I'm tempted to try to do it with the low temp hot glue gun. All right, so we got that. All right. And let's give another.
I've always loved moss. It's so cool. It's all bright green. And I like the carpet moss. In
What's
between carpet moss, like in between pathways and stuff. Looks really cool. It's fun to walk on.
Yeah, I know. Actually, I have some different colored moss here too, Randy. That variation maybe. Randy, I got one of these where it's a punch that you use. I think I got this from Green Stuff World, but it's a punch that's leaf shaped.
Uh-huh.
So I used some watercolor paints on coffee filters.
Nice.
And then this is what I have left over for. That gives you an idea of what. And so you get little piles of leaves that you can use.
JC asked if you've ever played Baldur's Gate.
No.
Same company that made Divinity Original Sins is making Baldur's Gate 3. Never played the first or second one, but he started the first one last night.
Oh, cool. Yeah, Baldur's Gate is a very famous and generally well-regarded D&D game, Randy, and kind of like in the style of Divinity Sin, but and also probably more like I think Neverwinter Nights. It's probably like, but I did see that they were making Baldur's Gate 3, and I did see also that I think Baldur's Gate is on sale right now, and they have I think some enhanced editions of them available. So that's cool. Yeah, let us know how those play. I trying to think which one.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever played it. I was thinking that it used to be like an arcade game or something.
No,
that was something else.
Yeah, JC said that he started. I think that's the one I did because you start off with like you create your characters and you create a party of characters, and then like in the training mission you go into a basement and you have to kill like some spiders or something like that, kind of right from the get go, and then you're in the city. I think if that sounds remotely right, then that might be Baldur's Gate 1 or 2 because I think I had started that. It's one of those games, Randy, that we were talking about too, where like I think the line between real time and churn based, because it's real time, but you kind of have to pause to do everything, right? Because you couldn't execute 6 orders to 6 people simultaneously while 15 things are attacking them, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you pause and you tell everybody what to do. And there's several versions of those games. Pathfinder, which is kind of like D&D 3.5, that just they decided that we're going to do 3. I'm not sure what the woof 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 means.
Jax is barking.
Oh,
I can hear it.
Yep. That's our secretary. Gets a little grouchy sometimes. Yeah, but so there's some other games that are more recent, and so I've kind of thought about maybe skipping the Baldur's Gates, but trying those. I think Kingmaker is one of them. I was watching Co-Carnage on Twitch. I'll play that for a bit, and it looked interesting. But like Neverwinter Nights is the same thing. Like the engine is based just totally on D&D, Randy. So like Baldur's Gate is actually a D&D game, and so it uses all the mechanics, but it just does all the math and everything behind. But like if your character would have cleave, then in that moment you would execute, I think, cleave, and it might even say cleave, and or dodge, and those things. But those things are happening just like super quick.
Yeah.
But you can pause them, like I said, you can pause and kind of do that. But that's cool. Yeah, you have to let us know how the Baldur's Gates goes. Randy, VR wise, I started playing and became quickly addicted to playing in short bouts. On the Quest, they've got a VR ping pong game.
Oh, cool.
And that uses realistic physics is what they tell it, super realistic physics. And I have to say, having played it a couple days, I'm quickly enjoying it. It's the computer kicks my butt crazy, but it's just because I'm sucked, not because of the technology or the problem that I'm suffering in between me and the technology. That's not the problem. It's crazy how quickly you can get adapted to that, and it just makes me super excited about, again, it's like the Oculus Quest is fun and amazing, but I'm more excited about the future than I am for the current moment. I'm just that this is where we're at right now is so exciting because it's the thing with this is like, oh, I wish the refresh rate was about twice as better than what it is, and not the fidelity. Or maybe I need a little bit more fidelity, but I'm still impressed with how. I mean, you're playing ping pong, right? And it's like that ball's coming, fast, and yet you're still able to react in that space. But holy crap, when VR pauses, like you move your head and it doesn't move, man, I feel like I want to throw up. I feel like I got splinched whenever it happens. It's like, ooh. Or what is it whenever they go through the port key, right? And I think Dumbledore tells Harry that usually people throw up the first time. And
that's when
the port
he
key
apparates with Dumbledore for the first time.
Yeah, that sort of thing where you're like,
although I think that's probably
what does happen
also
there?
true for the port key.
Yeah, I like how they depict that. That is one of the things I like how they depict it in the fourth movie is how Sparkly Vampire and his dad they're coming down like all calm.
Yeah,
and everybody
they
else is like
neglected to tell any of them like
falling on their face.
How to handle it.
Yeah. All right. So we have plenty of flock options here, Andy. So I'm gonna get the flock out of here. And
JC said he agrees VR is the next leap in gaming. Reminds him of going from SNES to Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
2D to 3D worlds.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because it took them a long time, and they're still, I think, trying to figure that out about like how do you take things, and just because you have 3D, do you have to use 3D? Whereas like that was kind of part of the problem was they wanted to forsake all gaming types because it was 3D capable and the machine hardware could support it, but it's a challenge. And the same thing too, I thought kind of with like tablet gaming or touch-based gaming, right? It's like everybody was trying to port existing games instead of figuring out how to make Angry Birds or something like that was, where that medium now gave you something where you didn't previously had. And so you have to look at it in a new and innovative way. That's what VR is requiring people to do. So it'll be exciting as they throw more minds onto solving the problems, all the various problems, the hardware problems, the game design.
Yeah, and as the cost comes down, there's more available to people.
Yeah, but playing,
the more people are going to buy it, the more they're going to want it, the more they're going to try to improve it.
Yeah, where they're at with being untethered is really going to increase people's enjoyment. And now it's just like if nothing else, like we were talking about. You've been showing people, your VR, and so you got to take your PlayStation and all that. Where it's like you could just take a headset. I can take a headset over and show my mom. I can take a headset over and show my dad.
Yeah,
and that's going to be really cool.
That's a huge benefit.
And it's going to there'll be so much word of mouth that'll happen because of that. Is really going to.
There's, like I said, it was an immediate notice. I felt, of course, I've never. There's a lot you can do with the PS4 tracking system with getting the camera just right and making sure that it's your field of play is just right and everything's tracking properly. But it's not just like a set it up and go.
Not a plug and play.
To get that to work really, really well.
Yeah.
And even then, it's still camera based. So there's one camera and it's tracking lights. So as soon as you turn around, if you're blocking your controller lights with your body, the camera's not seeing that. So it's a huge benefit not having the cord and having the tracking that's actually in your headset.
Yeah.
Rather than a camera tracking lights. It just works so much better. So much more fluid, I think.
Yeah, it is. It's a better user experience, especially for the uninitiated, right? But just all around, but especially I mean, just not having a cord, just giving somebody a headset, it just easily, like, people just want to put it on. Whereas where it has the cord, I think instantly people are like, what do I do with this? You know, like I said, I gave it to Shay, and she was kicking. That's how quickly she was immersed. And she was throwing feet within like 30 seconds.
Bye, JC.
Hey, thanks, JC. Yeah, we'll definitely be sending you the information on that. Thanks, brother. But yeah, and then also, have you played any of the Beat Saber?
No, not yet.
Okay, so I got the Beat Saber for the Quest. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, I got that, and I got the table tennis.
I was going to buy it, but it wasn't on sale, so I was going to wait till it went on sale.
Yep. Yeah. It is very fun.
Nice.
Very fun. It's I have to imagine it's much improved by being untethered. I'm trying to imagine. I mean, maybe if you play seated, I guess, but yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting. So but they're real cool. But what I like about both of those is they're good things that you can just hop in and hop out, right? And again, with it being its own standalone system, not just with being untethered, but you know, it's its own standalone system, right? So it's like I can just hop in, put it on. I can play a couple games of, you know, ping pong, or I could play a couple songs of Beat Saber and take it off and put it down, right? And you're not sitting down, you're not booting something up, you're not waiting for the operating system to come up, you're not, you know. So I'm finding again where the differences I think that we'll have to see between VR experiences, especially right now when I think it's hard to spend that much time on it. I find that how long do you feel like you can be in it comfortably? Do you have any limit?
I haven't had that much time to actually figure that out yet.
Okay, so what's the longest that you think you've spent in it?
I'm not sure. Before, when I had my Samsung gear, which I mean I still have, I just don't use because it's annoying having to take your phone out of your case and whatever, and then you can't blah blah blah. But I would watch movies and stuff in it. So
okay.
And I didn't really find that to be a problem, you know. It wasn't uncomfortable for that long. I didn't think so.
Yeah.
Now with there's a difference between the PlayStation VR or the lighter headsets as opposed to the Oculus Rift. Oculus Rift. Yeah.
Tokyo Drift.
It's more. It doesn't have the cord, but it is slightly forward heavy on your face, so it's a little more uncomfortable in that respect.
I'm sorry, Randy. I need a second. I don't know why, but it just tickled me. It sounded like an insult, where I'm about ready to get all forward heavy on your face. And I don't know why. For some reason, it just really tickled me. So I needed a second on that one. Cooper, you settle down, or I'm gonna get forward heavy on your face. Okay, so please move on. Yeah, you're right. And you're saying this as opposed to the PlayStation as opposed to the Samsung. Is that what your point you were saying?
The PlayStation as opposed to the Oculus Oculus Rift.
Which one do you feel is more forward heavy?
The Oculus Rift.
Okay. Or
because it doesn't have the cord, because it's not a
Quest.
The processing.
Sorry,
Oculus Quest.
It's the Quest. Quest is uncord. The Rift is their tethered version.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So Oculus Quest.
So, Q for Johnny Q, man.
Oops. Yeah, good point. There we go.
Studio Q, always branding. Always be branding. Always. All right.
Yeah. So the Oculus Quest, because the processing happens on the device.
Right.
It's more forward heavy.
I got you. Yeah, because
everything
is in the headset.
Yeah.
I also put they have a spacer for if you wore glasses, and I just put it in. I couldn't figure out what you do, but the cushion piece, you pop it out. It just kind of like pops out in 3 places, and then you put that thing in, and it just adds, I don't know, an 1/8 inch or something extra to allow for your glasses. So I did find it did seem a little bit closer, or a little bit more comfortable right off the bat. But But yeah.
No, I still don't understand, like, wearing glasses. Like, I'm nearsighted. Like, I can see close up fine. So I wear my glasses for far away.
Yeah.
I mean, far away is like a foot in front of my face, but you're wearing a visor. It is close up. So why do you need your glasses to be like it automatically compensates for it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
I think that's a discussion that we will have to figure out and talk about. Or we'll figure it out during a stream.
Yeah.
Because I'm curious about that as well. I had this instant because my first thing was like, well, I'll just take my glasses off. And I was like, no.
Nope.
That didn't work.
No, I believe it's been a while, but I believe when I used the Samsung Gear, that you could do either or, but I think you usually just did it without. But there was a dial, I think, to adjust for if it was blurry.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether there's a part of me is like, is it blurring it and then your eyes are making it in focus?
Yeah, I don't know.
But is that even possible? You know what I mean? Is it something to do with the binocularism of it? I'm confused. I'm very confused. All right, let me see if I can do that back on. I'm gonna have to work on.
What was the other game you were talking about?
Hold on.
The
Beat Saber.
Yeah.
Beat Saber. You're gonna dig on. You understand the basic premise, right? You're using both things as like lightsabers, and you're cutting blocks that are coming to you, and it's a rhythm-based game. And the blocks, they have a direction that indicates which you must slice, and it's either a red block or a blue block, and that indicates which lightsaber you have to use. Your right hand is your blue one, your left one's your red one. So, and it's neat because it just kind of, you just instinctively start to do a little dance with the things that it's asking you to do by the way that it's, and it has these things, these like columns that'll come towards you where you're supposed to step out of the way. And that's the part where it's like, I would be confused about how well that would work if you were tethered, you know what I mean? But it's fun. And I'm just playing the basic.
They sell what is this? V Blades Dual Edition Oculus Quest and Rift S sword grips. So they have. It's kind of like
Adam Savage's.
Well, this one is like a staff with the controllers on either side. They have it separate, and then they have one that's like a staff with the controllers on either side. Either end.
So yeah, I'm
It'll be like Darth Maul's lightsaber.
Yeah, yep. I saw some game in VR news. The big VR news is that there's this game. I think it's called Crisis, and it's like one of the biggest VR games. Right? There's been a ton of people that's downloaded, but Oculus Quest keeps denying letting it be on the platform.
Huh.
And I think it has to do because potentially some of the nature of the content in the game. It's violent. I think you can shoot people that are wearing Trump masks or something, and there's some other things, I guess. I just watched a very super quick video that briefly talked about it. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. It was like, I don't even think about some of the that big kind of behind the scenes stuff, right? You just think, oh, there's a game, and of course you're going to be allowed to sell your game that you made, and
yeah,
you're like, no. But you can play it, I guess, on the systems, but I think you have to side load it, but it's just not officially available, sort of thing. All right. Trying to add a little bit of gold back into this after the last set of washes. Also, that Asgard's Wrath, I think, that you and I were talking about, Randy, on the Rift. Do you remember that one at all? Is that ringing any bells?
Yeah.
I guess that company got bought by Facebook.
Really?
Yeah. I think they've been doing that with a couple of these, buying up some of these independent companies. And whoever was reporting that news, they were supportive of it because.
Facebook, did they buy Oculus or?
Yeah, they did. And I think initially it seemed like it was a great move, and then I think it seemed like it was a bad move, and now it's seeming like it's potentially a good move again.
What's your general feeling about Zuckerberg?
Sexy.
I don't think I trust him.
He, I feel very strong about my spidey sense, right? My Peter Tingle.
Yeah.
And he, yeah.
I mean, I don't know him personally, but like everything I've seen about him kind of seems like he might be a just total dick. But I don't know.
There's something too, just about like I'll judge a book by its cover, and it's not about necessarily the way a person looks, but like their mannerisms. I believe a ton. Like if you ever watched that show Lie to Me, had Tim Roth in it, and he could read people's micro expressions. That's what they called them. And I believe in a ton of that, like, you know, what people tell you through their body language and by what they don't say and things like that. And yeah, there's just something about my mind tells me not to trust him when I see him talk. I'm not sure exactly what things that he's setting off, and he could be the most honest and awesome person. I'm just saying that he makes my Peter tingle.
In a bad way.
Spidey sense. In a Spidey sense way. Oh yeah, your Peter Tingle? Can we please stop calling it that? So cute. Alright. So I'm adding some go there.
So did you
well.
you sprayed the polyurethane on everything? On all the castle pieces?
Oh yeah, I did. All over, baby. Yeah, I did. You're asking, am I painting over top the it? Is that what the question is, or?
Just general reference.
Oh, I was just curious. Yeah. Yep, I did. I went ahead and I some of it. Then after I did that, I actually went through with I had to make some more like brown black wash. And then I kind of just used a big brush about this size. Something like this size. And added spots to help. Because it was all just looking a little too gray. Variation of grays. There was a ton of variation of grays, but I needed a little something else in there. So, and it shouldn't... I was watching... I would always just kept thinking you seal everything at the end, but I was watching Sideshow Collectibles.
Okay.
I was watching Sideshow Collectibles. And they do these high-end like figurines, like superheroes and aliens, stuff like that, pop culture stuff, and so they had some painting techniques, and it was like, oh yes please, you know, they were showing them paint. Like one lady, she was painting this large scale Harlequin, and another guy was painting a Superman, and and so they were showing their techniques, and so like they would paint like a base coat, and then they would seal it, and then they would do a wash, and then they would seal it, and then they would do a wash, and they would seal it, and in between each wash they would do seals. And I was like, I never really thought about that, but I could see where
you lose more definition that way.
I think it does. I think it lets the and do your own fact finding here, right? This is speculation. This is theory and conjecture on my part. I think there's lots of things that are going on there. One is it potentially keeps them from blending together. Like you can have a difference between when you work wet on wet versus like dry on dry, right? Yeah. And so I think instead of these two colors merging together, they kind of can actually stay a little bit separated in some ways. I think that's a part of it. And especially like if you're working it with a brush, right? You don't want this wet wash to, undo what you did with the previous wash. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't want to move those to other places. So I think it helps with that. And then also I think it helps too. I think I've seen other places where something like that can help if you made a mistake, right? You can take it kind of basically back down to that last sealed level. So like if you hit it with some, you did all this work on say the eyes and you hit the whole thing with something, you're like, what did I do? You can take all that stuff off kind of down to that level. So I think that's potentially another reason why they do it. There might be others as well, but I think there's at least a couple. So it started to make me think, it's like, oh yeah, you can seal it and then put it over top of it. And also you can get some effects with that too, because this has kind of it's a satin finish, right? So it's almost got a little bit of shine. It's not a matte finish, it's got a little shine. And so then if you paint over top of it, then you can kind of have that in those crevices, which as we found out kind of on some of those cave pieces, that way we're doing it kind of gives it this dankness, you know what I mean? And who doesn't like it a little bit dank? Come on, son. Sorry. All right. All right. Adding. Yeah. Some of these raised spots. So it's the Beat Saber, the ping pong. Did you ever play ping pong in real life, Randy?
Yeah.
I tell you, man, it's pretty neat. It makes me really excited about virtual pool, actually, because it's like I can have a pool table, right? Because it's like you can basically have like a fold out table. So it was like that's what it was like the table tennis. It's like I only need about half the space of the table tennis, right? Table, and then I only need it like I can push a chair like upstairs up in the chimney room. I push a chair to the side and create a nice little space, and it's like pop pop pop. Put the headset down. It's like yeah, but it's like ooh yeah, it'd be fun to play virtual. The physics of this makes me excited. That and how comfortable it feels. I think that playing some virtual pool would be a very interesting experience, and I think it's coming very soon. All right.
I was watching. I told you I've been watching a lot of British shows, game shows, quiz shows.
Yeah.
Just comedians, really. But also Stephen Fry, Gadget Man. And he did one with like bar games or pub games, something along those lines. And he had a cool machine that would make cocktails for you, so you just tell it what you want and it automatically mixes the cocktail for you.
Yeah, that's cool.
But it also had the billiard. I had a billiard table, and if you put your hand on the table a certain way, it would like make it go into virtual overlay mode. So it would take place of where the balls were on the table and line up your shot for you and everything. It would show you, like, as you move your real cue stick, it would show a virtual line on the table of where the ball was going to go.
Are you talking about augmented reality? AR?
Well, you don't use your phone for it. I imagine it's a projector over top of the table.
Huh.
So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds neat. I'm curious. Some little runes here that I'm trying to just hit and pull a little color. I'm just trying to increase some areas of contrast on this. It's all just looking muddied, so adding some contrast.
It's a little shiny. Is that from the finish?
Satin, yeah.
Yeah.
Which again, some of the paint that I'm putting on will help.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I think I might like to keep that for where it's stone, and that'll help to define what's stone versus what's metal. But
It
then
just makes
also
it kind of hard to see
some of that
because you're getting reflections.
Yeah,
It's not in focus, and you're getting reflections.
Yeah. But yeah, let me. And I think this, I'm gonna just try to be a little bit patient with this. Of add some color, maybe add some wash, add some color. I mean, it's destroyed, you know, and I don't need it to be like I can totally recognize exactly what that is, but I need more than what it's given me currently. What game have you been playing most right now, Randy? Anything?
I haven't the last couple weeks.
Yeah. Things been a little nuts for you.
Huh?
Yeah, I said no. Things have been a little nuts for you. I wasn't sure if you've been still playing the Dragon Age, or was that the last thing?
That's what I was playing. Yeah. That's what I'm in a spot where, I have those two mainline quests. I've completed everything else, so I have to have enough time to devote to those. So I need at least, I don't know, maybe an hour minimum for one, if not more than that, and then probably closer to 2 hours for the other, I'm guessing.
Right.
Because it's really something that I would prefer to do all in one go, on one sitting, you know.
Right. And
I have not been able to concentrate on it lately with everything else that's been going on. So.
Yep, I hear you. Any shows that you're?
Just the
YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been absorbing all that stuff. 8 out of 10 Cats does Countdown. And
who's your
all of that?
Do you have a favorite person that out of the British celebrities that kind of like you didn't know about?
That's well, you know, I love. I'm gonna say his name wrong now. Crap. It's not. Let's see.
Is it the host?
Well, there's Jimmy. Yeah, Jimmy Carr hosts it. He's cool. He's always good for a laugh.
Does have a he's wicked smart.
Yeah,
he's got a wicked quick humor, that guy.
I can't think of the one. Anyway, John something. Here, let's do it this way. John Richardson. John Richardson is one of the two. I forget what they refer to them as, but they're the staples. They're the regulars. The ones that are always on, unless they're on vacation or something.
Can you pull up a shot of that so I can see? Because I bet you I'll recognize.
Hold on. Cats does Countdown. So it's 8 out of 10 Cats, and then 8 out of 10 Cats does Countdown. Is like their version, their spoofy version on Countdown. But there's a bunch of other shows, quiz shows, and trivia shows and things like that they do, where it has a lot of recurring, a lot of the same comedians are doing all those different shows.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Yeah, I was watching one. I told you I got down the rabbit hole one time, and the one that I was watching, I'm trying to think. They had a pair of comedians that worked together, or a pair of people, of celebrities that worked together, and it was trivia. And they would kind of write down their answers. Like
it's like the big quiz show.
I think that might have been it. Yeah. And yeah, I watched quite a bit of that. And they had I think it's Noel Felding, maybe.
Sounds right.
And then,
Richard Brand and him together are crazy.
well, there's another guy whose name is like Richard Aurier. His name is like sounds like
Outie or something.
Yeah,
the one they were on.
He was on the IT show, or whatever.
IT Crowd.
IT Crowd, yeah.
There's another comedian that was also on that's on these a lot as well.
Oh, okay.
And he's a very, like, if you saw him, you'd be like, oh yeah, definitely. Seen him around.
No, I know who you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
because
can't
he's
think
I
of his
think
name
now
right
in
now.
Get Shorty, the guy you're talking about. The other guy that worked with him.
Let's see.
Yeah, and then the female, their boss, you see her a lot. She was actually in an episode of Sherlock, and she was in Humans 2.0.
Oops. Their boss in what? Sorry.
The IT show.
Oh, I haven't seen. I've seen little bits and clips and like.
I haven't watched a lot of it, but enough that it's like, okay, yeah, I'm starting to recognize you guys in other places.
Oops. Oh, okay, that'll work. So here is. These are the main people. This is John Richardson.
Okay.
And that's Sean Locke.
Okay. Yep.
And of
I'm not
course,
familiar
Jimmy
with those
Carr.
guys.
Huh?
I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah. Especially John Richardson is like, he's blowing up. He's since he started doing 8 out of 10 Cats and does Countdown at least. I'm just finding all this stuff out. Like they've got these other series and stuff that they're doing. He's made some kind of documentary type stuff, and they of course are traveling and doing their stand-up shows, specials and things like that. But also he has a series that has at least 2 seasons of his own show.
Huh.
John Richardson does. Then I don't know how many pies Mr. Carr has his fingers in. He seems like he's getting a piece of everything.
Yeah, he's found himself a good gig.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny too when you find somebody like that, because he's kind of known as almost this, I don't want to say insult humor.
Yeah, I mean, that's how he opens every episode of 8 out of 10 Cats does Countdown.
Okay, so
it's by like he introduces each person and insults them.
Okay, so
it's all like zingers and
Okay, so I guess he is then like that. I was thinking more of some of his stand-up. I didn't necessarily think of stand-up that way, but it is kind of obviously that to some degree it does feel that way, and I guess that is part of his shtick.
Mm-hmm.
But
so a lot of that, like, I thought he was an asshole at one point.
Right.
It's like, oh, this guy's funny, and then I'm like, oh no, he's an asshole, isn't he? But no, he's actually really cool.
Yeah.
It's just that's what he does.
Yeah, and I think that's probably true of Don Rickles as well. That because nobody would want to be around you, right? If you're just a total douchebag all the time. So there's something more there, and that somebody's like, yeah, you actually really need to be a host. I think is probably pretty telling of how people regard him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see here. Well, this is it's more, at least on the gold front. So let's take a look here and see. We're gonna do some of the same, I think. Try to work some of that same magic here on the side.
This is interesting because for the British stuff, because like so much of the time you hear like people saying like, oh, the British are stiff upper lip and they're all prim and proper and
right
and shy and retiring or whatever, and Americans are all boisterous and out there and body and raunchy and everything,
and
but
hip
like
and with it.
Well, I just mean like dirty, like
yeah, but I mean it's like America is the cool teenager, and England is the stuffy grandparents.
Right, but in a lot of ways it's the totally opposite.
Yeah,
you see them on these shows and it's like, holy crap, we would never get away with that here.
Grandparents were freaking it here. Up. They're getting it going. Yeah,
like on 8 out of 10 Cats, 8 out of 10 Cats does Countdown. They do a lot of crazy stuff in between, because that's I've talked about it several times before, where they'll have like you'll have to choose so many vowels and consonants, and then you try to make the longest word you can from those within 30 seconds. Okay. And then the other part of it is you have to choose so many small or large numbers, random, small or large numbers, and then there's a randomly generated target number that you have to reach using those numbers, and you can only do like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. No decimal points or anything like that. But in between the times, whenever anybody's trying to concentrate on working out those puzzles, Jimmy Carr will do distraction techniques and stuff, like entertain the audience and just try to distract the people who are trying to concentrate at the same time. And they do a lot of crazy stuff. They had one where it's like a guy came out in a robe facing the players and dropped his robe totally naked, and they're all like, they glanced up and they're like, holy shit. Like, apparently he was very well hung and they were all shocked. And one of them just like stopped playing and was just staring like in awe, like like what in the how. And then he runs off when the 30 seconds is up, and they're still all like, did that really just happen? is that real? But like that would never happen on American TV. They'd never get away with anything like that. Not for real. I mean, they could fake part of it, but
not like well, just like
they'd even show in like a lot of movies and stuff, you can only get away with showing like the top quarter inch of butt crack. They're showing the whole thing, and more.
I remember like in the early days of Netflix, like when you would order the movies and like they would come to your house. There was some movie that I had, and it was like some European movie, and it was I got it because it was weird. I don't even remember what it was now, but it was like European, and it showed like when they were nude, it like showed their butthole.
Wow.
Right. And it's like, isn't it funny that like I don't think I've ever seen that in a movie, in a non-porn movie, right? And it was just so stark. It was just like, oh yeah. And it's just so funny that's like, yeah, I guess that.
Yeah, America is largely so repressed in from a nudity standpoint. Just sexuality in general, but especially just nudity. Where other countries, especially like Sweden and stuff like that, they don't have a problem with nudity at all. No. Like they don't have any aspects, any trouble with it. Like they don't care. It's like, that's your natural state. What's the problem?
Yeah.
We're all like, oh no, that's horrible. You can't do that. Don't show that. And they're like, it's the way you're born. It's the way everybody is without these foreign objects on your body. I don't know why.
Well, that's a big deal too, is that, America thinks that, there's, I think, this idea of, you look at some of Orthodox religious sects and how their dress codes are, whether it be, say, Amish or Muslims or things like, like that. And we're like, oh, that's so, there's some people that would think that's like, oh, that's so backwards. And yet their own beliefs are viewed pretty backwards by, a fair number of other people.
Yeah. So like, whereas we might be looking at people who wear full robes and everything, total body coverage, as being, some people would say ridiculous. It's not my view. I don't understand a lot of it. It seems like it would be really hot. I've heard that it's not. But whereas the person who views them for wearing full length views them as being ridiculous might also view somebody like on a nudist beach as equally ridiculous or even disgusting.
Right.
But I mean, you're just a varying middle ground there. I mean,
here's something that I think
so ridiculous.
Is interesting that
sorry, go ahead.
Is like, there's this idea historically that if you choose to believe this, and I do, do your own fact finding, that history always shows that the intolerant is not what's come to be accepted as the right way of thinking. So, back in the days, you look at race, right, and slavery and things like that. You look at how that intolerance is generally viewed by the public now, is that, no, you were wrong,
Yeah.
The people that were, mixed marriages, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can't have mixed marriages. And then you look at, people, women's rights and things like that. And it's like, that intolerance. And, you look at it, with, currently I look at it with some of the gender issues and sexuality orientation and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like history. You can say, oh no, what do you believe that mixed marriages? Yeah, well, mixed marriages are okay. Do you believe that women should have the right to vote? Well, yeah, but this part I'm wholly against. Well, you can look not that far back and you can see where there are similar examples, not exact, but similar examples of similar intolerance that now you totally disregard, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is where your current thinking is what those people were thinking, and you can look at that. You can look and see, oh, you know what? Historically, yeah, intolerance generally is regarded. The intolerant belief is generally going to be regarded. I'm having a hard time finding where that is actually not the case, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you know what? Maybe we should have been a little bit more intolerant there. After, hindsight's 2020. Maybe we should have been a little bit more intolerant. And it's like, nah, really? No,
Yeah.
I don't think so. You don't find many examples of that.
Yeah, I think at one point or another throughout history, depending on where you're at in the world or the country or whatever, at some point, every ethnicity or nationality even has been viewed negatively, as like the interloper or so for someone to, like today, for somebody to say,
for every us there's a them.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of different variances of it and examples of it, but one aspect of it being people who complain about Mexicans entering the United States, or living here or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, first off, have you seen the names of some of our states and the cities in them? You know why those exist? Because that part of the country was originally owned by the Mexicans. You're like, get out of my country, and it's like, that used to be theirs right there. Like, somebody sold it to us, to the United States.
Sold it, stole it.
Yeah, sold it or stole it or whatever. But it's not like they're invading. And then the other aspect of that is like, oh wait, we all kind of invaded. There were people here before us.
Minnesota is not Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah. That's like, okay, and then you look at the whole East Coast and you're like, these names don't seem like words that we're used to.
Yeah, not Anglo-Saxon at all. So yeah, that's everybody's an immigrant.
Yeah, and then even more finely focused than that, at one point, the Irish were the people that we wanted to keep from entering the country.
Our buddy John sent me, recognizing some of my Irish heritage, he sent me a sign when he was someplace and it said, "Irish need not apply."
Yeah. Yep.
And, it was making fun. I think it was in a bar, but
no, I mean, that
it's
was
because
a real
there
thing.
was some, that's some.
Yeah, that was something that actually did exist for a while. Like during, I think it was probably around the potato famine era.
It's back when we were building the railroads.
Yeah, where we were getting a lot of immigrants from there because they were all starving. I'm guessing that's the time frame, because that makes the most sense, I guess. There were actually signs for different places would put up signs that said, Irish need not apply or whatever.
Yeah.
And you don't think about that. Like, you wouldn't think about that today. Like, you have Irish ancestry, and you wouldn't think like, oh, So if this were, I was alive a couple generations ago, then I would have been the immigrant. I would have been the one that was looked down upon about coming to this country. I would have been the one that people were trying to keep out, like it's gives you a little different view of it when you think about it like that, doesn't it?
If it makes you feel better, I'll look down upon you. No, I won't.
Oh, you already do?
No.
How tall are you?
Well, that's true. I look down on most people. Woofy, woofy, woof, woof. All right, let's see. This is coming along.
My words aren't doing me justice today, I don't think. But I'm getting it across, but it's garbled.
I'm picking up what you're throwing down. So at least there's that for what that's worth. All right, I think I'm kind of liking that. Let me take another look here. What time do we have? Well,
it is 1:13.
All right. I want to at least get this part finished to where I can set it down. And I hate when I need just like a little bit of paint and it's like I need like a pinprick of paint and I give myself a silver dollar's worth, right? It's like, why was I doing that? But then I remind myself, okay, each of these bottles is 99 cents. And so that was the difference between 1 cent and 3 cents. So I think we can, of all the things that we actually need to be consternated about, probably not that.
So I'm confused. We were talking earlier about linseed oil.
Mm-hmm.
I had thought that I had read that linseed oil was poisonous.
Huh.
Like, because you see boiled linseed oil and stuff like that that's used. Do you want to call it a solvent or just a? There's several different products that they have, and you can get it at Lowe's or wherever. I thought that's what they used in paint, in oil paints as a base a lot of the times was linseed oil.
Now, okay.
But this is saying that linseed oil is flaxseed oil. They're the same thing. This says. But then,
are you confusing it with mineral oil?
No. No, I didn't mean that to sound salty or whatever.
You did. They just it was so decisive that it had that wonderful little thing of no.
This thing is saying that they're the same thing. This thing is saying that they're similar but not quite the same thing. This is confusing. But it's saying that this is saying that linseed oil is not toxic.
What is it that the?
No, I'm so confused.
The seeds of apples.
Oh yeah, arsenic.
Is that where arsenic comes from?
Well, they contain arsenic. I think arsenic is
that. I guess that if you get
an element,
concentrated enough form of them. You know what I need to add?
Isn't arsenic one of the main? Let's see, periodic table.
AR. That's argon.
Yeah. Or AR is argon, isn't it?
It's argyle.
Yeah. Argon.
That's one of my favorite. It's it's one of the noble sock elements.
Nice. I love that.
Argyle. There's the paisley. It's PA. There is the striped ST.
Stick with the argon and
there's
the noble sock.
TU is the tube sock.
I'm gonna need a T-shirt with that on it. I like that. Argon is AR. AS is arsenic.
Yes.
So I don't know. Let's see. How much arsenic is in apple seeds? I don't think it's not much.
Yeah, I mean, you could eat seeds and it's not gonna...
I've heard varying things. The problem is there's so much things that you hear that become common knowledge that supposedly have a scientific base and become common scientific knowledge, scientific.
I need to send you something, Randy.
But they end up being totally wrong. They were misquoted.
Yeah.
Or it was bad science, or it was just a lot of times it's just that somebody did not understand what they were reading or misquoted it either deliberately or indirectly. And then that just gets perpetuated. Apple seeds, arsenic. What were you?
Sorry,
So you're going to send me something?
yeah, our friend of the studio.
It's cyanide. This says cyanide.
Oh, okay. Cyanide is maybe the.
I always heard arsenic.
All right, Randy, I sent that to you via Facebook Messenger. Chris had sent this thing in reference to something that you and I had a conversation with on the stream about, and about. It's kind of applicable to what you're talking about. So it's a. Now this is on the internet, and you did some deeper talk about this, of where these origins that I'm going to say, these things that I say may or may not be true, but it does seem that these common statements have much larger meanings potentially, or at least for a period of time had these phrases associated with them that make the meaning different or much larger, right? So the one.
Wait, are you just saying this, or are you reading this from something?
No, that part was me.
Oh, okay.
That was my preface. That was preface for preface. All right. The phrase "curiosity killed the cat" is actually not the full phrase. It actually is "curiosity killed the cat. The satisfaction brought it back." So don't let anyone tell you not to be curious, little baby. Okay, go. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, and I think my mom had actually heard that.
Right.
And she was surprised that I hadn't. I'm like, no, you've never,
my aunt,
like, what?
My aunt was the one who had told me that.
So it seems to be something that was prevalent during their time, and then just totally fell out of favor. And I was getting a lot, because I was looking at, I think on Wikipedia, and they were talking about how, like, they mentioned that, but then they also mentioned, like, maybe it wasn't always that, it became that at some point. Like, many of these things, they're older than what assumed is in the origin. There's something even before that, it just changed over time. Other things got attached to it. And,
Yeah. So
a bit confusing.
So they also have this other one about that blood is thicker than water. And what that states was that the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, meaning that relationships formed by choice are stronger than those formed by birth. So, like, if you cut your hand, did a blood oath sort of thing. And it's like, okay, that's a fascinating, true or not, it's a fascinating concept.
And it's interesting that a lot of these they deliberately, well, I'll say deliberately, they totally change the meaning.
Yeah. So the jack of all trades, master of none, but better than a master of one. We talked about that one. Also, great minds think alike ends with, but fools rarely differ. And it's talking of that, shows that conformity isn't always a good thing. Really interesting. And then birds of a feather flock together ends with, until the cat comes. So it's actually a warning about fair weather friends, not how complementary people fit together.
That's like it's also like the I before E except after C,
except as an A, as a
and
neighbor
then
and way.
I learned that second part. I never heard that during school. I learned that from a cartoon.
Yeah, that's funny.
I can't remember. It was like bears, like a bear pilot and a bear kid. And they flew a plane, like a seaplane.
Grr.
I don't remember what it was called. But that's where I learned the second part to that. I'd never heard it before.
Yeah, I'd heard those taught
like
together, but yeah.
Way.
But yeah, it is funny how, and it makes sense why it just happens, right? Like if you have a phrase that's a two-part phrase, and your phrase is, commonly you find this.
Tailspin.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So if you hear a phrase that then the purpose of the phrase is commonly you see this, but also remember this, it makes sense that humans would just latch on to the first part, commonly you see this, and just say, oh yeah, because commonly you see this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you could see how over time that those things could get dropped, and how the nuance, especially.
Yeah.
If it's something is like,
if
hey,
you
here's
drop
a
off the
situation
second part,
that,
it can easily change meaning entirely. Like,
but it is funny. It's like, hey, this situation requires nuance, and what we get out of it is we're going to forget the nuance.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to latch onto the commonality. That is curious, very curious. So yeah, I appreciated him sharing that with us, and I wanted to make sure that I shared it with you.
Nice.
I think here, Randy, we
does not.
There's always control print and paste it in paint.
I was just having you look at this.
Yep.
Do you recognize that?
Yeah, I do. Now, well, I don't. Yep, I do remember that. That's around the same time as DuckTales, I would imagine.
Probably. Yeah, I believe so.
So Tailspin and DuckTales, those are things that just were out of my. I was aware of them, but not within my purview, so to speak. I need something shiny, bright and shiny. I have this brushed metal.
Tailspin was Disney's Tailspin, 1990.
Yeah, that seems right.
I was gonna say, like, a lot of these.
DuckTales
Transplants several characters from Disney's adaptation of the Jungle Book.
Okay, because it wasn't a
show
Blue
about the Golden Age seaplane travel. Huh?
Yeah, so Blue is the pilot.
I didn't think that it wasn't, but I mean, if you look at him, you're like, oh, I was thinking like, oh, they totally ripped this. Like, that's Blue, and that's
because that's what I thought. But then I was
Blue,
like, but I wasn't
Tigger,
sure if that was...
and that's the orangutan from the Jungle Book, and that or whatever. And
okay. So yeah,
I don't know if they were actually supposed to be them or not, but
I think Blue
is
right?
Louis Island Bar, run by the titular orangutan.
So yeah, I think so.
Interesting.
Yeah, Gargoyles, right?
Yeah.
Same time as that. And that was one that I did. I would be interested in checking out again.
I think I tried to watch an episode of it again around the same time that we were trying to watch the Thundercats.
Yeah, you know,
like,
I had tried one, and I'm thinking that it might have been one that was the later episodes were better, but
I'm going to fix your M50 real quick here.
Oh, thank you.
Or try to.
Do a review on it.
You know what's funny is there's so many Star Trek people that did voices for that.
Yeah. I know Marina did. I know Worf did.
You got it?
Yeah, I think so.
Let me take that back off.
Jonathan Frakes did. Brent Spiner did. I think all of those guys did.
What angle did you have that on?
I'll
okay. So this is saying apple seeds contain a plant compound known as
it was like rhizin.
Amygdalin. Yeah, looks like amygdalin. It is harmless when intact, but when the seeds are damaged, chewed, or digested, amygdalin degrades into hydrogen cyanide. This is very poisonous and even lethal in high doses. And then it says 4,5. What does that mean, 4 or 5 seeds? I don't think so. Cyanide has been used as a poison throughout history. Now, whether that's accurate or not, I don't know.
Yeah, I do remember seeing, like I said, something where, and it was talking about like they were injecting somebody with that poison that is made from like concentrated poison from from those. That's why I'd heard that
I was
before.
thinking that cyanide smells like almonds. Cyanide. Does cyanide... Oops. Cyanide sometimes is described as having a bitter almond smell, but it does not always give off an odor, and not everyone can detect this odor. Yeah, I was taught that it was apple seeds had arsenic in them, and that I believe it was during either Elizabethan or Victorian times, women would use arsenic to make their pale skin, or make their skin pale.
They were absorbing poison.
Yeah, because the queen had really pale skin, so it was in fashion to be like the queen. So they
what I
would
know
actually
about
take arsenic to make their skin pale. There are a whole bunch of things like that from like Victorian or I think it was Victorian times specifically, where like all the kinds of different poisons that they would ingest for different reasons.
Yeah, we call those pioneers. Are you familiar with V.C. Andrews' Flowers in the Attic?
Flowers in the Attic, yeah.
So she used arsenic to poison she put arsenic on powdered sugar on the donuts that she would give them. And
fucked up story.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. Yes. All right. So I'm getting close to being...
I'm not even... How much incest was going on in that?
All of it. Well,
all the incest.
Yeah. All of the incest. I mean, it was the brother and the sister. Then I think
it was also...
There was two... Well, maybe in the later ones, so I don't know.
No,
I think in the first one, I think it was just the brother and the sister, and I don't even know.
It's inferred that it's also their mother and her uncle or something like that, I think.
Oh, okay.
Something like that, I believe. Yeah. It was like... Well, I guess, I don't know if they were... Maybe they're from an aristocratic family that had a lot of inbreeding to maintain their
bloodline.
Yeah. Guess that happened a lot back in the day.
Sure. We're doing it for the bloodline.
Yeah.
Not because of the erection.
Supposedly, I think it was in college. They said that it seemed like the Egyptians had some sort of resistance to
the negatives of
the negatives of inbreeding. Because they would have commonly have inbred brother and sister to maintain bloodlines. Keep them as pure as possible. In the this is just talking about like royals and stuff, not like everybody. Not just a regular Joe.
Randy, I would like to, I think, stop here. And
on that note,
yeah. I would like to conclude the inbreeding section of our show.
Yeah.
And happily, I mean, I was happy to take that walk with you down incestuous lane. But and then with some of the remaining time, see if maybe we can do a little Twitch test here, multi-stream Twitch test, and then yeah, let's do that. We didn't do our mental health minute, and I think that's okay. The mental health minute that I had for today was when no's are really not yet. And that's applicable to what we're doing because we're not getting a lot of eyeballs on our stream, and I'm regarding these no's as not yet, right? Sometimes things that don't happen. It's just that it hasn't happened yet. You need to be patient, and you need to make adjustments and so on and so forth. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of what the mental health was. Maybe actually was all of a minute today. Did you have anything you wanted to add on that before we?
What do you call a bee that can't make up its mind?
A bee that can't make. I don't know.
A maybe.
A maybe. I like it. I like it. Always.
What do you get when two dinosaurs crash their cars? T-Rex.
T-Rex. Oh,
These
yeah.
are really bad. Some of them don't make any sense at all. It's like, oh god.
Let's can we finish with the snack time? There was
yeah, I'm looking at, let's see, the new ones or old ones at the
there was one that Carrie had sent me actually. I can share today's. She sent it to me.
A lot of these seem repetitious.
Let me see here.
Yeah, these are repetitious.
So this was from an anonymous 7-year-old, Randy.
Uh-huh.
I have an idea. Let's duct tape everyone's mouth shut so they can't say anything.
I just saw that. Huh.
All right.
So what grade what grade is
Second.
7-year-old? Second.
Yeah,
Oh,
kindergarten's 5th grade.
Wow.
So, and that's about the time when,
Yeah.
you probably start getting,
A little salty.
you have some moments where it's like, enough already, people. All right. So, can you minimize the page that you have on the screen, please?
Oh, no.
Thank you. All right. So, Randy, I think with that...
Aw, here you go. I can't show you how much I missed you because my hands are too small. It's anonymous 6-year-old.
Randy, let's see here if I can pop over here to the M50.
A 3-year-old named Callie. I know I'm in trouble, but I just wanted to let you know that I love you and your clothes are beautiful today.
Wow. Sure. I mean, I'm in trouble. This might be the juice box talking.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with the fact that I'm in a lot of trouble right now, but you're particularly beautiful at the
But
moment.
you look slamming today.
You're really...
You got the
really
blam
hitting
and the pow and the boom. So
Nice.
we added some stuff here, so it's enhancing. I think what I'm going to do is then I'm going to do another small application of some wash on this, and then another dusting of some metal on this. But it's closer to what I want. Real close, real close, and then we can start gluing the other pieces in as well. But so maybe I'll work on. Do I want to do? I'll probably want this to dry before I put the wash on. And I want to finish that before I put the other stuff on. I'll work on something else. So, but we can go ahead and we'll close today's stream and we'll see if we can do some test multi-stream.
Oh, the first was World Compliment Day. So,
okay.
JB, you are an awesome fellow.
I think you're doing it wrong. I think it's Earth. Well done.
Oh, okay.
Well done, Earth. We do not deserve you. I believe that. We are not deserving of you. And
it's
hey,
also...
stop. We complimented the world, right? But I do have a piece of constructive criticism
for the world.
Yeah, stop making bad weather events happen because of homosexuals. That doesn't seem cool.
That was the homosexuals that were causing the bad weather, wasn't it?
I'd say
According to the 700
that's what's
Club.
happening. I think we need to maybe look at it a different way. I think maybe the Earth needs to chill. If that was the reason, come on. When you're Earth, you can be a little bit more progressive.
I've heard that the Democrats, it's the Democrats' fault for the coronavirus.
Yep, that makes sense. Because.
Yeah.
Because. Yeah.
Logic? No. I don't know. Anyway, today is also I Want You to Be Happy Day. So, be happy, JB, because I want you to be happy.
Don't worry. Be happy.
And then Thursday, on Thursday we get to learn what our name means, because it's Learn What Your Name Means Day. It's also Cinco de Marcho.
Cinco de Marcho. Cinco de Marcho. That is my favorite Cinco. Is the Marcho one. I don't know if you noticed. I'm gonna tell you a little story here, Randy. about Jax.
Oh yeah.
His name. He has a name that Carrie said that all she wanted for Christmas was pot holders. And so I told her that we were going to get a dog and we are going to name him pot holders because there was no way I was giving her any other type of pot holders for Christmas. And so it's part of his name is pot. I call him Poho. And,
Poho.
Yeah, Poho. And then he does this thing where he's got all this energy, but then he just crashes, right? So it's kind of like a narcoleptic fit. So I started calling him Narco Poho. Narco Poho. Narco.
That's fine.
Poho. So that is his name. Yeah, his new name is, because that's part of the fun of having pets is giving them 1,000 names.
Sounds like an interesting video game character name too.
Yeah. Narco Poho.
Narco Poho.
Narco. My name is Narco Poho. Maybe I might have to put Narco Poho in our D&D sessions. But anyways, so let's end on that. Never cowardly, never cruel, never give up, never give in, and let's see if we can make some multi-stream happen.
Cool.
Yeah.
Love yourselves. Love one another.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. Peace.